So this is our fourth training session. Again, they're all self-paced, and all these sessions are being recorded. So if you missed one, you can go back and you can catch up. Today, so far we've looked at the first meeting was an orientation, kind of a general overview of what we're trying to do. The second lesson was how to log in to the various tools that we're going to be demonstrating and asking you to test and play along with. Last week we saw how to use SpotOn, how to create an incident, and this week we're going to continue that, and we're going to show how to ground truth an incident, and then also be able to share that information through ArcGIS Online to other tools as well. And the ground truthing incident, the reason this is really important is that some of our partners like NASA JPL are going to be able to publish out model results immediately after the earthquake. They'll get the shaking information, they can take what they know about fragility information, about infrastructure, and publish those estimates out of where there's potential for damage to have occurred. But they're model results, they're static. What we really need to know is what's really going on. How well does the model result match reality? And so if you can see that information, where there's predicted damage, and go to that location and provide real live information about what's actually happening there, that will help everybody get a much better picture of what's actually going on and be able to establish what the needs are, and be able to get resources that much quicker. So that's the focus of today's training, and I'm going to hand it over to Jim Moret and let him take it away.
All right, Ann, thanks very much. As Ann said, today is ground truthing. So our use case is that there's an incident. It's happened someplace, was discovered by someone, maybe reported to 911, 911, or someone reported it and it was entered into an emergency operations center, or just as we did last week, somebody in the field said, hey, there's a problem over here. So that's the beginning of the use case, with the key component is you're nearby. You have some expertise or interest in being able to further understand this incident by providing a field observation, providing that ground truth that Ann talked about. For the exercise, you can be anywhere in the country, anywhere, using, in this case, this tool, and you can check into the incident and let everybody know you're going to be reporting on it. And then you use SpotOnResponse to provide descriptions or pictures or videos, or go onto Google Street Maps or whatever that is, Street View, and clip a picture out of that area, or pull something off the internet, something to enrich this exercise by providing substantive information about this thing, this problem, this incident that was shown up there that came through 911 or EOC or somebody else reported it. So the idea is to get that play back and forth. What we're going to do today is see how ground truth from the field ends up becoming situational awareness. I'm going to do that by starting with SpotOnResponse, using field observations generated through it, then seeing those field observations in ArcGIS Online, which is a always popular common operating picture to be able to see situational awareness, and by viewing those observations on Google Earth, which is an always popular way to see that information and see a common operating picture. And then hopefully you're all going to join in and practice. First of all, I see some people have in fact added in and joined in. We've got, let's see, who is that? We've got Rich Galen there, and we got some folks over here. That's somebody from Cal OES, and over here, that's somebody else from Cal OES, or who have signed in from Cal OES. To get to here, the instructions. Ann's passed out the instructions before. I just repeated them there. You've got app.spotonresponse.com. You got a user's name, or you create your username using this past project code right there. So let's move on to begin taking a look at it, because what we learned last week was that we have a map As you saw, we have teams, members who are in different locations around there who we can see. Each one of those is able to create information. In this case, we had a roadblock set up by the local police that somebody created last week. Out here, we've got blankets that are a resource request at that location. Over here, we've got a bridge closed until inspection. All these are indications that something is happening out there. So people icons show what happens. All these pins and icons that are out there are going to show you objects of interest or items of interest, incidents as it were. You can get to these by clicking on one of the buttons and saying, gee, I've got a tree limb down, and going and looking at the details of that tree limb down. When you go and look at any of these, the first thing it does is say, hey, if you want to participate, this is how you should be getting there. And it's going to provide for you information on how to get to the location. Just as a quick look, you're looking at maps, you want satellite imagery, you can have the satellite view of all this. Oh, we got somebody operating up there. There's Rachel. How are you today, Rachel? You're probably really located there, and welcome. Map, satellite views. And in fact, as we mentioned before, and I do this because it's nothing brilliant because it's done on every Google Maps, but if I come in here to Hayward and I grab this little person and come over here and want to see what it looks like, I'm going to be able to see this street view out of Google. And what that's important for is it helps you create simulation material because you can capture this image and then use it to push back in through SpotOnResponse to provide some more stimulus material to all of those who are playing in the exercise by saying, hey, here's the building that we see that is damaged. So you're not only responding to things in the exercise like you normally do, but you're creating components that will allow other people to respond and play along with the exercise. And the last piece on this page, what we learned last week was click up here on this plus sign and you can come out here and select some information here. And in this case, these are types of incidents that occurred. And we're going to call this a lifeline incident. We learned last week that I can say that this is power line down and put some additional information in here. PG and E, if that's right, yeah, are on the scene. Stay away. So we're going to submit that one. And what we have is a success notice back there. And this is what we played with last week. You've got that little up there. Now we see we've got an icon, little red marker there, power line down. Last week you also learned that if you want to do something more about the power line down, you can click right on that and get to that same set of information that we saw before. So all these things that are up here at this top level, this list and picture, are all incidents, items of interest. You can call them what you want because sometimes they're good things and sometimes they're bad things. It could be somebody coming down the street to pull people off the roof of a burning building. That's a good thing that you would want to observe. And other times it's the burning building, which is the less than good thing that you want to observe. So these items of interest are where we were last week. Now let's turn the page over here on the left and let's move over to what we're going to do with these, where we're going to create these observations, how we're going to get details about this particular issue. So what I want to do is let's start out with this one over there. We've got, there's some more lifelines with electrical poles down. And I'm going to be the one that's going to respond to this. Well, this is me out there. You remember me. You saw I was located there. By clicking on the details, I now have my route to come out to those electrical poles that are down. 3 in a row down, leaning over the road. So what I can do is create this kind of information. Picture the utility lines down. If I click on that, I'm going to get utility lines down, the picture that someone took. So what I'm able to do is collectively, we are all out there gathering information about each one of these specific incidents. In general, I'm not going to be able to take that picture from over here, so I will have traveled to that point. And let me just play that part of the simulation out, because you're going to be some distance from where you can actually observe this. In reality, you would be driving along and go to see that, or walking along and go to see that, and your device with its GPS will track where you go and what you're going to do to get there. What we're going to do in this case, though, is I now want to go to that incident. And the one over, where do we go? This incident over there, that is my power lines down. So I'm going to transport myself. Something called set location creates an artificial location for exercises, or in the real life when people don't particularly want to be tracked. You can go off and say, yeah, I'm at work, but I'm over here. And I'm now going to come as close as I can get to those power lines down, and I'm going to set my location. So now we've relocated at this point right in to the area right near that. You see that those E-poles have now come up on the top of the list here. That shows me that they're now close to me. And what I'm going to do from this point on is play the game. So first thing I want to do is tell everybody I'm going to be working on this one. I want to go to this one, that's right. I need to know where I'm going to go. Tells me that that's how I'm going to get there now that I'm close by. And I'm going to come up here to the Tools menu, and I'm going to check in. I've been checked in as part of this team, and now down at the bottom, it says joins the team, Jim Morentz. So if any of you are out there playing along at this moment, you could come in and say, hey, I'm also going to join that team, and I'm going to become part of what's going on. And that'll allow you to be able to participate along. So if you're around and would like to be able to play along, go right ahead and check in.
And this is Anne, just to provide a little bit more background too. This is part of our concept of operations. This is, we've never had these kinds of tools and technologies. This is all something that's developed over the last number of years that's new to all of us. And so we need to figure out how to use these tools and technologies to the best advantage. And so by checking in, what it does is it helps us coordinate field personnel. You can see, well, if somebody's already checked into that location, and you can see, we have a sense of who they are, what team they're on, we can say, okay, well, somebody's already been to this site, and they've already provided information, and they're an authoritative source. It's a DERI engineer, or it's a USGS geologist. So maybe I don't need to go there. I can say, all right, somebody else who's authoritative and knowledgeable has already provided information about that incident. But, there's another incident nearby that nobody's looked at. So I'm going to go there instead. And this down powerful incident, this could be an unconfirmed media report that somebody has entered remotely, and we need to get ground truth on it. So that's just to kind of put the whole thing into context. That's why we're doing these steps. That's how this is supporting situational awareness and also the exercise play.
So, thank you. Excellent, Anne. And meanwhile, you notice that down here we had, after me joining it a few minutes ago, 30 seconds later, Ron Kronthal joined the team. So we now have two people who are going to be able to support this response. So let's say it's me, and I now want to go off and provide an update. So I'm going to come up here to the little pencil menu up there. I'm going to click on Update, and I can now enter free-form text. So I've got I'm going to report on some of the cars backing up. So cars backing up on Smith Street. And we have over here as police arrived on scene, but difficult to get closer to observe any ground movement. There we go. Status, need, category, those are terms, and we're going to, as we talk in future sessions about the essential elements of information, these are going to be ones that we're going to be talking about, how we satisfy that. Now, down here, I've got a lot of choices. If I'm on a mobile phone and I click camera and click over here on choose file, it's automatically going to take me to the phone. You'll take your picture just like you normally would, and it's going to capture that picture as part of this ePolls Down update. Same thing with video, same thing if you want to create an audio reporting. I am on none of those, so I'm going to click on a file there, and let's get some pictures, and I'm going to take large crowd out there. So we're going to submit that. I've submitted that with a crowd waving flags picture as well. I'm going to return. And right now, everybody else, that person, Ron Kronthal, who was down there, he's getting this information that there's cars backing up on Smith Street. So if he's coming down that direction, he's going to be able to know something different. If somebody wants to look at the picture, you come over here to the right-hand side, click on that button, and there's this picture of all the people who are on Smith Street trying to get through this traffic that's out there. And it's that simple. This is the way you're going to build a whole set. We got a few more folks out here. Good. Welcome. We've got Jacob Lee. Welcome. Good. Glad you could join us. And Phil Balin's out there. That's me. That's somebody else. That's Rachel. She's come down. Yep. Rachel's come out of Eureka or wherever you were and has used the set location, is now playing locally in this exercise as though she were here. So great work, Rachel. Exactly what we want to do. A couple more folks out here. There's Richard and others. So that's how you do it. It's that easy, and it's building the information. Now, where it's building that information, we want to come over here and take a look at ArcGIS Online. And you'll note we have two things here. We've got incidents that are coming in, and those are these different icons there. We've got these funny looking little, actually that's clever, little magnifying glasses to take a look at that incident more. And of course, if I wanted to put on any of my other data layers that are there, I can do that. So this is completely integrated in with ArcGIS Online. And we have been looking at some things over here. And one of them was, this is the polls down. Actually, let me come in here and let me take off that. So now we've got a picture of the utility line that was down. And if I come over here, a little bit different way to get at the data, but I can open this link in new tab, and there I'm going to see that utility line. Same one that I put in over here, this one that we put in earlier that showed the utility line down. So SpotOnResponse to the ArcGIS Online, sharing the information just as quickly as I can talk about it. And did anybody else put anything in here? There's a safety assessment program. Somebody's got a yellow tag on that building. And over here, Pete Rofers, he's got, was that today? No, that was in our earlier training session with the middle school. So it's just that simple. Just that simple. So let's stop right now because there's nothing more to tell you about putting these things in. Let me open up for questions while I pull up a Google Earth here, and we'll take a look at all these things on Google Earth. As we're zooming in on Google Earth, we got a couple of things here, two different types of icons on Google Earth. There are some event washed out road, and then if we come over here, let's see whether we can find this, the polls down. Cars backing up on Smith Street. There we go. And that's this, and again, Google Earth has a slightly different way of getting at that information, but I'm going to open that link. And what I have is that crowd that was out there. So we got crowds on Google Earth, we got crowds on SpotOnResponse, we got crowds in the Clearinghouse. And didn't pull up WebEOC today, but you've got some of this information in WebEOC. WebEOC doesn't accept all of it at the present time, but you're gathering incident information that's all going into WebEOC as well. So for those of you who are out in those locations, go ahead, create an incident or add something to one of these other ones so that you can get a little practice. And at that point, I'll stop and see whether anybody has any inquiries about this.
Jim, how can I get easily the URL for this particular web map so I can see this nice compilation information?
Well, let's see. You've got two ways to do that. One is, well, these things you can put on your own web map. So why don't we start out that way, saying, hey, you don't need to, and where is that? Right over here. There we go. You don't need to know anything about anybody else's web map. You can grab either the KML feeds or the GRSS feeds that are right up there. And next week, we're going to be focusing on moving the data into ArcGIS Online. So Ann will be publishing all these, but and I can send you a quick email. But that is what takes them and puts them onto your web map. So we're not sharing web maps at that point. We're sharing the data that goes behind the web maps. And then you can construct your own. And then when we get to the ArcGIS Online connector for XchangeCore, then we'll talk about how we share web maps. Oops. So if anybody has the patience to copy those down, go right ahead. Other questions?
This is Ann. Just I don't know if everybody heard me at the very beginning of the call. I'm right now at there's a 3-day FEMA joint FEMA OES planning meeting on the exercise coming up, and so I'll have more information for you on what we're going to be doing hopefully about the next week or so. But in terms of practicing what you're seeing in these training sessions, the clearinghouse exercise is going to be focused in the Cajon Pass area. So we're going to be, so you should, practice locating yourself down in the Cajon Pass. Maybe think about how you would self-deploy down in that area and what types of features or structures or types of information you would be able to contribute to situational awareness in an earthquake, focusing on effects in the Cajon Pass area. And we're also getting some clarification on which emergency functions are going to be participating in the exercise. So one thing we know for sure is that transportation is going to be highlighted in this exercise. So if you're a geologist or an engineer or any other type of expert out there, think about how you can provide information about the roads and the transportation facilities going through the Cajon Pass area. That's the kind of situational awareness. That's what we're asking everybody to do. And I'll have more information on other emergency functions that are going to be participating in the exercise as well as I find out more. So just a heads up.
And while Ann was talking, you all saw how easy it was to move to the Cajon Pass. And just a quick note, you still have all these because I have my area of interest set to several thousand miles, but it's telling me that this residential damage is 322.57 miles away. So probably not something I'm going to be observing from there. That's part of what you're able to do with the tool set is be able to figure out what I can contribute to.
Any other questions? Nothing. Okay. Well, I think that's a good sign. And we're right about almost at 3 o'clock, and we're trying to keep these short and sweet to half an hour. So please continue to play. If you don't yet have your XchangeCore credentials and you need them, please don't hesitate to contact me. We can get you set up with that. If you if you already have your own ArcGIS Online credentials, you can connect into the XchangeCore directly, and we can give you those credentials. As Jim mentioned, the directions for logging into SpotOn, creating your own account for that are put out there, and they're on the Clearinghouse website. And there's also information about bringing information into Google Earth. And we're also looking for use cases. So if you have a tool or technology that you think, hey, it'd be nice if we could get our information. For instance, we've been talking to Cal EPA, and we're going to be looking at bringing in some hazardous and toxic waste data through their California Environmental Reporting System, CERS. We're going to be working with California Department of Public Health, bringing in information like clinic locations. So if you're an organization and you have data or you have a tool and you want to participate through the Clearinghouse in the exercise and you want to see how all this works specifically for you, let us know, and we'd love to develop a little 30-minute training session around you. We'll make you the star, and we can help you figure out how all that works too. So, and with that, I think we can wrap it up. Last call. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jim. And hope you'll tune in again next week for our next training session. Again, this is a recording. This training session has been recorded, and we'll make sure we get that link out to everybody as well. So thanks, everyone.